Today, we are speaking about the holographic business and communications. The trend in mobile revolution towards its sixth generation, a rapid adoption of the metaverse and Web3 concepts all leave us no choice than to use holograms to develop these new innovative concepts. Holograms are here to disrupt first and to stay to allow people to communicate. Internet and fintech businesses capitalized on the idea of extracting data and building their business on this data. But when you get a massive amount of data, how are you gonna penetrate it to allow a viewer or a reader to get access and to understand and to digest this information effectively? Holograms are here to help you. Today, in our studio in Geneva, we are having a rather special guest, Mr. Giovanni Palma from MDH Hologram. We will be covering such issues as holograms and Web3, holograms and metaverse, and many other interesting things. Stay with us. How big, actually, Mr. Palma, is that industry or hologram industry? How big is it?
That particular business is not so big. We're talking about like in the range of 200 to 300 million US dollar. But when you look at the wider picture and you take into consideration like the 3D optical illusion of generating a virtual 3D image, we are talking about a few billions of dollars. Is already worth it, not less than $3 billion, considering the whole industry that goes from content production to hardware.
And the most active countries in that business would be America or UK?
At the moment, I would say the most active country in the business would be the United States of America,
USA,
Europe,
and
following with China.
Great.
These one are the three biggest area, of course, the United States leading.
Starting from 1996, the Swarovski Museum exhibition, was it actually the first example of using and producing holograms in public? What's the current standpoint of MDH Hologram regarding that exhibition in 1996? Was it actually the first example? What was it, Swarovski Museum in Austria?
Let's make a little step backwards. 1996, it is the very first installations of the modern era of generating a paper ghost, which by the press then was called hologram because of the resemblance between a paper ghost image and Princess Leia of Star Wars holographic vision.
Paper ghost image, what is it exactly, Giovanni? Maybe not all of you.
I will explain it shortly. The first studies of a paper ghost image were made in Italy around the hill of Florence by Sister Censis monks in the 1600s. Then the study were lost until the 19th century, where a Dutch guy came up with the idea of reflecting an image onto a stage. He didn't have the money, he went to London, he met Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper believed in the idea, went to the patent office, and they registered the first paper ghost. Based on the name of Dr. Pepper, because apparently by heavy mistake, the clerk working at the IP office in London forgot to add the name of a Dutch guy or didn't know how to write it, so the patent was written only in the name of Dr. Pepper. It became very famous during Victorian era to be used into theatrical play. Back in the days, it was done like digging a hole in front of a stage in a theater, having people there lit up with candle lights, and then you had a reflective surface that will reflect the real human image onto the stage above. Okay, so you had a kind of a latent image. It became very famous during the time, and then it died out, and it kept on living through the myth of the ghosts into, the Scottish castles, where you had ghosts going around. It was actually paper ghost generated images in most cases. After this period of fashion, it was not used until a German inventor came in 1996, thank you to the new technologies, projectors, and he discovered the possibility of generating pepper ghosts in a very different way. No more need to make in a hole, was just sufficient to project an image on the floor. You had a reflective screen that will generate a pepper ghost image on the stage. The more the technology advanced, the more the quality of a hologram became realistic. And that brought to us in 2013 to make an investment. We believed that there was a market, so we started working in the field. We did a lot of R&D between 2011 and 2013. In 2013, we opened up an office in London, and we started then to generating our own IP, creating a product called iMagic. Our biggest client in recurring clients, it is obviously the Universal Studios.
Universal Studios, American famous Universal.
Universal Studios,
In
American
Hollywood.
famous Universals.
That's interesting. What do you do for them, Giovanni?
Theme parks. Let's say we provide them with some parts, bits and bytes of equipment that then they implement in their attractions.
So it might cost well above $500,000 to produce and to implement a hologram.
No, you can have hyper-realistic holographic projection even with $100,000.
Oh.
It's all a matter of the size. The bigger it gets, the more expensive it is. You know, not because it's a small car, it's a bad car. It can be small, but rather unique.
Great. And speaking about the full installations, what are the exact products that a person who would like to dive into the world of holograms can order generally in the market? What are the products?
Right now, we are specializing into service provider to connecting people. That means that the biggest goal for us, it is to create and to help university and school to create a network to allow educational to become available to everyone, everywhere, having the best teacher worldwide available. So, give you an example. If you are, let's say, in any of the African countries, okay, or even sometimes could be in Europe, up in the mountains, small remote villages, what is happening is everybody is leaving rural area to go to the city. Why? Because they need to get an education. And looking through a monitor doesn't really come with a lot of attachments. There are now plenty of research made by famous scientists, not commissioned by us, that clearly proven states, okay, that 3D hologram is by far the best technology.
The best technology for education.
Available for education.
Fantastic. Unbelievable.
And it's not said by us, it's said by whoever is making this research. The biggest advantage is that it allows the teacher, okay, to live in Geneva, as we are now, okay, give a session to students in Africa, okay, and after 2 hours teaching, switch off the camera and goes back home playing with his kids or goes to his lab doing his research. There is not many valid teacher that would want to, take the family and to move to Dhaka.
Supposedly
to
it's a
live
long
there for
trip,
3 years and to teach them.
Exactly, yeah, it's time consuming.
This is what the technology can do.
Yeah. So it's not only the business, Giovanni, it's also education, it's also some other fields such as fashion, pop music, supposedly some interactive concerts,
whatever is the
theater.
most industry of entertainment, concerts, expos, conventions. Okay, that's a business for it's a wow factor. Today we are able with certain products. We can put banks into the position of doing holographic presentations, even to their clients. It's only a question of size, how big you want your manager of private banking to be to talk live with Mr. Rich Man that is on the other side of the world.
So technically, it means that here at the Koskabi Bank, we will be able to provide some intensive Forex training for all those investors residing and living on other continents in the world.
You can do it tomorrow.
From our office in Geneva, just implementing the hologram technology and installing it.
You are the sender here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to have a receiver from the other side. And the receiver can be as expensive or as cheap as you like.
To what extent do you think that holograms can and should be used to decorate the displays, the stores of the expensive worldwide known brands? So far, we couldn't see that much of usage of holograms by big companies and big players, Louis Vuitton or Hermès. Do you think they will come to this, or they just would like to remain more traditional?
It's only a question of time and price. Right now, like for the fashion industry and retail stores, has the same disadvantages that for educational. The startup cost of operations are high. I mean, there is no other way to define that. But what people normally make a mistake with is everybody stands from the point of view of how much is going to cost me to make an installation. And this is the wrong approach. The approach should be how much I'm going to make, what I'm going to get once I make the installations. Now, for educational purposes, it's obvious, okay? You keep the people where they're born, and you give them the education there, and that means that you as a country, you will develop those areas, and you will enrich the future of the whole nation.
You invest in your own people, you invest in education, of course, and those particular...
And that will allow you to get the best brain worldwide, or even the best brain locally that they will never move around. This is one. And not only you improve the quality of the people that are, of the students of a rural area, but even of the people that were supposed to be moving there, because it takes 25 years to create a teacher.
So what are the real implications of hologram technology for developing Web3 and metaverse? Our program is devoted to innovations and financial markets and also to cryptocurrencies. Okay. What's your candid assessment? What's your standpoint on this? Do you think it's a thing of the next 10 to 15 years to come, or it will take longer?
Well, the amount of money that is involved into the creation of the metaverse is humongous. It is a kind, in my opinion, too big to fail. But it's never said that it's actually going to be working, because to be connected with a metaverse world, you still need to be detached from what we call today the real world. So until metaverse will substitute the real world, you're going to have this kind of a 50-50. Who's going to endorse it and who's going to fight it? What is possible to do with holographic room? You can actually create a metaverse universe in front of you, which you can use with your own eyes and view with your own eyes. But these are two very completely different things. What metaverse will give to hologram is content. At the moment, the biggest holographic critical point is there is no content library available.
So this is the main obstacle to implement and develop holograms
I mean, we do have a lot of ideas to create and to generate. We know what is needed. We are working on it. But because it is easier to wear an helmet, okay, and disappear from the real world, or to watch it to the screen, people have a tendency to invest on something that has a return on investment that it looks is going to be sooner rather than later. I completely disagree with these solutions, but we are not the one that have the power to change it.